Hey guys, it's Pride Month. I don't currently have any decorations set up for Pride Month, but to make up for that, here is a poorly shopped image of a pride flag. I'm a disappointment. Anyway, to celebrate this month, I decided to make a video that has nothing to do with Pride Month. Don't worry, that video will come out next week, hopefully. Regardless, this video does have something to do with Pride Month. Back in 7th grade, our early adolescent years where people are really beginning to discover themselves in terms of their sexuality, that was when I first found out about things like Pride. I remember doing some research about it online, and naturally, being the 80s nerd I am, decided to look up what the LGBT+ community was like back in the 1980s. Well, I don't know if I was tired or what, but instead of looking up something reasonable like Pride in the 80s, what the LGBT+ community was like in the 80s. Nope, instead I looked up Rainbow 80s. And this search thus reintroduced me to the topic of today's video, the 80s cartoon Rainbow Brite. Back in the early days of YouTube, me and my sister would watch vintage intros and outros of old 80s cartoons that we didn't even know about. Clearly, the YouTube recommended page has always been whacked up. These shows included Fraggle Rock, Thundercats, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and of course, Rainbow Brite. Some of these, whether it be out of vague nostalgia, I still have a liking towards. For example, Fraggle Rock. I also have a Funko Pop of Rainbow Brite. So I guess me being a fan of something is dictated by whether or not I have a Funko Pop of it or not. So in the case of Stranger Things... yeah. By the way, stay tuned for an announcement at the end of the video that is Stranger Things related. Okay, bye, love you, see you then. Enough blubbering, let's talk about Rainbow Brite. But first, you've probably had enough of this face. I know I have. So with that... that's better.
Rainbow Brite was a cartoon created by Hallmark Cards, yes, the greeting card company, and aired between the summer of 1984 and 1986. The show was centered around a young girl named Rainbow Brite, who helps protect Rainbow Land and its colors from the villainous Murky Dismal. The premise pretty much reeks of 80s kid-centered television, I know. I'm surprised nobody ever talks about this show. It already has that personality of a show that makes you feel nostalgic, despite never seeing it. Not to mention this show pretty much checks every box for a popular 80s cartoon. So what gives? Well, I think it's down to two major reasons. I don't think Rainbow Brite quite reaches the level of iconography that MLP or Care Bears have. I like Rainbow Brite's character design, but My Little Pony and Care Bears has it down. You have these anthropomorphic bears with symbols on their stomachs, and the ponies with their cutie marks on the side. I guess the key to a memorable young girl-centric 80s cartoon is cute anthropomorphic animals with a tattoo slapped on their body. Despite having a higher level of iconography, I actually prefer Rainbow Brite over both of these. A big reason to why that is because Rainbow Brite doesn't make me feel embarrassed whenever I watch it. Yes, it has its similarities to the others. Colorful characters in their colorful world, whose villain's color palette of grays and browns is an obvious contrast to our protagonists. And sure, Rainbow Brite has its moments, but it's nowhere near as cringeworthy as the other two. My Little Pony can be a little too cutesy, and Care Bears, well...
You need to be taught a lesson about caring. Care Bears, get ready to care. Prepare to stare. Stare there.
But Rainbow Brite's cuteness never overstays its welcome. The sidekicks aren't overly annoying, the world is interesting and fun, and the characters are just the right amount of cute and charming. But who knows, maybe a little cringe would have benefited the show. Which brings me to my next point. This show has a lot of personality, but not much of a reputation, and I mainly see the limited time in the show's full run to blame. The show only lasted 2 years, and whether or not this was due to cancellation or a creative decision, it doesn't change the fact that such a limited run could leave a mild impression in the mind of a child. Sure, you could argue that Generation 1 of My Little Pony had an even smaller run, lasting only a little over a year surprisingly enough. But MLP still had more content to show off, with 60-some-odd episodes produced and a feature-length film, compared to Rainbow Brite's 13-episode total series, as well as a feature-length film of its own. With such a small run, it doesn't seem like it had the time to expand on a reputation for itself. My Little Pony is known for being the weird horse girl one. Care Bears is known for being the cringe one. I definitely think this show could be something great if only given the chance. It has an interesting enough world that I hope to someday soon talk more about, and one I hope is expanded on in the future. I technically did try this in 2014, but that doesn't count. I'm going off script to talk about this just so I can mention it briefly and never have to again. Not just because the show doesn't deserve any more attention than it already got, which is little to none, but also because there's not much to talk about. I don't care enough to talk about it because clearly the showrunners didn't either. The voice acting sucks, the stories are bland, and you can probably tell just by what's on the screen that the animation was terrible. It was no doubt the worst aspect of the show. While the old animation was soft and smooth, this one looked like it was animated on Scratch. Yes, the coding website. And even that's an insult to Scratch animators. I had no idea it was possible to make animation look that cheap, but this reboot sure proved me wrong. And I guess the showrunner saw it too because it was cancelled during its first season, having only 3 episodes aired. But if this show was to be written by competent people, I see that it would take on something similar to the likes of the reboot of She-Ra and My Little Pony. And it's something I believe can be done with the right elements of writing and modernity. Out of all 80s television with a young girl-centered demographic, I feel this is the best one. It's cute, the animation is pleasant and nice, and the world is really fun. Most importantly, I could watch it and not feel an ounce of regret.
And with 80s kid-centered cartoons with a solely female demographic, that is certainly high praise. Do I recommend Rainbow Brite? Well, if you're interested in checking out old vintage 80s cartoons, then yes I do. I'd give it a 7.7 out of 10. And that is Rainbow Brite. I hope you guys like this video. This video is kind of like a filler video. Definitely took longer than I thought it would be to make, so it doesn't really feel like a filler video. But this is just a smaller video in between the bigger projects I have. Speaking of which, you'll notice that I still have this beautiful assortment of Stranger Things Funko Pops on here. Well, it's because my new video project thingy has a lot to do with Stranger Things. Stranger Things is the main topic, is it? Haven't caught on. Stranger Things in the month of July is going to be hitting its 4-year anniversary. It's also going to be a year since season 3 premiered on Netflix. So I thought to celebrate that, I dedicate the month of July to Stranger Things. I'll release another video about this later on, but basically there are going to be 4 different Stranger Things themed discussion-based videos. Not necessarily reviews, those would be for another day, but rather discussing the impact Stranger Things has had as a whole. I'm really excited for it. I love this show, as you can tell. That's about all I have to say. A suggested video should be coming on right now about, and yeah. Why are you still here?